First things first, I don't really care about them changing Pinhead to a girl. Uh, I thought Pinhead was fine from what we got of her in this movie. It's pretty much like all the other Hellraiser movies where Pinhead, for some reason, isn't the main focus. And, we just had Pinhead for decades as Doug Bradley. There was also like the two remakes with the actors that I don't know the names of that weren't the greatest, makeup wise and performance wise, as far as I remember. But then again, I only watched those movies once. Um, so it's a pretty big change that she's Hellraiser now, and I thought she did pretty good. I think the kills are fine. The best kill of the movie is at the very end. This feels like the least disturbing out of the Hellraiser movies. They get pretty disturbing. Sometimes, like, stuff that is unnecessary disturbing, but this one just doesn't take it anywhere, in my opinion. And I watched it a few weeks ago, and I almost forgot that I watched it. If not for the fact that I like had a list of movies that I needed to review, I would have not remembered watching this. It's just kind of a stale movie. It's a brother and sister duo. The brother gets kidnapped pretty early on, and she has two generic friends and a boyfriend who was decent. I liked him. They do a little plot twist of him being a boyfriend that's working with the bad guy, though, which definitely brings it down. There's a gay couple in this. Her brother is dating a guy, but they don't really do anything with that either. They get like one scene of them like reading to each other in bed and, like bonding in the kitchen. And that's it. Her brother's played by the same dude that plays Justin in 13 Reasons Why. And the main character is one of the characters from the Until Dawn movie that I bought on DVD but have yet to watch. Um, the movie was fine. The plot is there's this guy that wanted like internal life, and, you know, obviously the Cenobites didn't give him what he wanted, they gave him what they thought he wanted. And he ends up suffering and in pain for a long time. So he convinces the main character's boyfriend to work with him and sacrifice some people so he can break his wish and get a better wish. And that's pretty much the movie. There's a lot of filler. There's some good acting here and there, but the characters just don't do that much for me. Um, Top it off, the one of the characters I felt the most for, the boyfriend, ends up just being, a piece of shit Billy Loomis character. So, it's whatever. Her boyfriend ends up actually staying dead, which I was surprised with, because it felt like they were really scared to kill these characters off. And he dies pretty early on in the film. They don't show it though, because they want to leave it ambiguous on whether or not he's actually dead and whether or not they can actually bring him back to life. Um, so at the end of the movie, she's like, "I've seen what your gifts are. I don't want them," and she does not bring her brother back to life, which was a smart choice. I thought it would have definitely lowered the stakes because basically the only characters that died were the two bad guys and her friend that didn't have that much screen time. Like, the boyfriend's brother gets the most screen time out of the friend group, and he survives. So, when she ended up dying, I felt somewhat bad, but not really. She didn't get to do that much. Um Overall, it was a fine movie. It's definitely not the worst Hellraiser movie. And I think the outrage over Pinhead being a girl was really stupid. Like, yeah, Doug Bradley's iconic, but give the new person a chance,